Spooling. We're good to go.
Go ahead. All right, we're ready. Good enough. Today is Tuesday, the 19th day of May, times 2:30. The Executive Committee of Compass is in session. I'll ask the Director to call a roll.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Rod Beck.
Here.
Beck Brooks. Here. Trevor Chadwick. Here. Randy Gold.
Here.
Dan Hart.
Here.
Lindy Lindstrom. Mary May.
Here.
John Overton.
Here.
Eric Phillips. Joe Steer.
Here.
Here we have four.
Okay, good enough. Do we have any announcements or any open discussion items? Welcome to the Executive Committee.
Hello, Bryce.
Mr. Brooks, thank you. Our new Secretary Treasurer, did you get all your documents signed?
I did.
I also want to say thank you.
Yeah.
Happy to do it.
Okay, any other announcements or open discussion on anything? Okay, good enough. The next up item on the agenda is a consent agenda, which is just minutes.
Make that motion, Mr. Chair, to approve the April 14th, 2026 Executive Committee meeting minutes.
Second. Okay, you've heard the motion. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. All right, the first action item is to establish the June 15th Compass Board agenda. Craig will go through that. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Let's take one moment. Right. So this is the regular activity that we undertake right before each, or about a month or so before each upcoming board meeting to review the items that will be on the agenda. Your packet, the items that may go on the agenda start on page 5 of your packet, but really the ones that we set in this meeting start on page 6 under the current agenda items section. The items on page 5 and the top of page 6 are sort of standard recurring activities that we do as needed. So for the June agenda, on the consent agenda or consent portion of the agenda, we'll have an item to approve priorities for end of year and redistribution programs. So that's what we do. We sort of rank, RTAC works with us to rank existing projects so that as funds are freed up, federal dollars are freed up late in the fiscal year, we can identify which ones to obligate first and kind of move through that in the priorities that we establish through that. So RTAC puts that together. But we do bring it to the board for consent. Then we'll have another consent item to authorize some signatures on one of our bank accounts. Then status report from the Finance Committee. They will have met, I think, a day before or 2 days before, right around some coming up. And then we'll move into an executive session. That'll be, executive session personnel. That's primarily just to have an opportunity for the board to review the recommendation and the performance review for me that you guys will make today. And then move out of executive session to considering recommendations regarding the executive director. Then we'll have action items to I think we're going to have them adopt the coordinated regional waterway pathway plan and then the Compass resilience plan. Those will be it for action items for the June meeting. Then we have information items to review the draft of the TIP update, the 2026 to 2032 TIP project list as we prepare to take that out for public comment. And then there'll be a briefing on the SPEARS project, which is the acronym for our Safe Pedestrian Intersection Prioritization for Enhanced Safety Plan, is a federal grant that we received. And so we'll get an update on progress relating to that one as we get ready to show the intersection prioritization results for action later on, I think at the August meeting before. And then the rest of the list of items in the tables, continuing through page 11, are upcoming agenda items. We just provide them so you can see what's coming down the road for August, which will be a full meeting. Apologies in advance for the August meeting. But there's a lot of things that just happen on a schedule. It just loads up August, just the timing of all the various required activities that we have to do. So with that, Mr. Chair, the motion we typically seek is to approve the agenda items, but giving the executive director the discretion to make changes if necessary. If we need to make changes to get the fact rate.
Okay, any discussion items? No discussion? I'll accept the motion to approve this to be presented to the board in June.
Go ahead.
Hey, you blew me out of the water, Christian. I'll make the motion, we approve the agenda with the for the June meeting with the ability to change as necessary by the executive director.
Yeah, you've heard a motion, move to second. Is there any discussion? Okay. No discussion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Carries, thank you.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch you seconded. Thank you.
Right there. Okay, now we'll go into executive session to discuss a personnel matter, which is discussing Craig's performance. And
Do I have to make a motion to go into executive session under Idaho Code 74206B?
second. Okay, the motion.
Thank you. Oh,
No.
go ahead.
No, the motion is to go in executive session, and that requires a roll call.
Sorry, Craig.
That's okay. I'm good. I'm nothing but adaptable. And remember that in a minute. Okay. Okay, so I'll do the roll call. Rod Beck.
Aye.
Zach Brooks.
Yes.
Trevor Chadwick.
Yep.
Rand Gold.
Yeah.
Dan Heyer.
Yes.
Mary May.
Yes.
John Overton. Okay, did I hear you? Okay, thank you. Eric Phillips.
Yeah.
Joe Steer.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes. Motion passed.
Okay, 2 ayes and ready, most of the rest, yes. Motion carries.
I do have quick instructions, Mr. Chair, before we actually do this. So these are the instructions that we set up for hybrid executive session, I guess, a couple years ago. So I will read these instructions, and then these are primarily for Mayor Steer Mayor Steer's benefit. Okay, so you will use a breakout room in Zoom for your executive session discussion. For those online, as soon as we open the breakout room, you will see a note on your Zoom screen that says Compass is inviting you to join room 1. Click the blue join button. Once all members on the Zoom call have joined the breakout room, the conference room will join as well. When you are finished with the discussion, if you are participating via Zoom, click leave breakout room to re-enter the main Zoom call. Then we'll close that room and we will move anything remaining in the breakout room back to the main Zoom call after 30 seconds. For those of you who are in person, you don't have to do anything. Just to leave the breakout room. Staff will be monitoring the main Zoom session from the laptop outside of the room. If you have problems with the breakout room, staff can assist you through Zoom.
Okay. All right, well,
Are we ready?
We're ready.
So
Okay,
we are
so-
ready.
Protocol, should I be staying or?
no, I think you should.
Okay, thank you.
But she's got to put it.
Yes, put it in breakout room.
You gotta
I'll
trade the
put you in the
breakout.
breakout room and then I'll put up a,
That memo that-
Oh, yeah, I did. I brought copies of that.
Yeah. That's it, this is the one, okay.
Yep.
Pass this around, this is the memo that Craig sent out, sorry, one.
Yeah, just sent,
Craig, did you happen to send it to Mayor Steer? or
yes,
would
it
you
should
send
be,
to-
I sent it to all of you though.
Okay.
Executive meeting.
Excellent. Sorry. All right. I am going to move you all into the breakout room, and then if you'll just give me a minute, I need to put up a screen that says you're in executive session, and then I'll get out of your hair.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you. Go on.
Okay,
All right. We live?
we are live.
All right, well, we're live. We've had the appointment of executive director under consideration. Go ahead.
So we need to say it's 3:05 is when we exited executive session,
Okay,
unless you have it for the record.
thank you.
It was 3:04 and a half.
We'll round up.
All right, well, thank you. Well, the purpose of the executive session was a discussion of the appointment of Craig. Craig, we want you to know that we're very happy with your performance this last year. You've done a lot of great things that we're excited about, your relationship building. I'm personally excited about it. I think you've empowered the staff really well in this organization. I think that's a mark of a tremendous leader, to empower your staff to move forward. And we think you're doing really well with that. And so I want you to keep on.
Thank you.
So we do have, well, we'll make a recommendation for the board. And so to do that, we'll make a motion for the recommendation.
Just a recommendation, so,
It's a motion to recommend this.
yeah.
Yeah, make a motion to recommend to the full board. Correct?
You're correct.
Yeah, okay, I'll make that motion, make a recommendation that Craig stays on, he can put his boxes back.
His box is back in the, I'm back to you. Go ahead.
And with the raise,
Yes.
with recommended raise to 190,000, which is 6.44%.
Okay. Well, we've got a motion and second. Is there any discussion on that? Okay. Well, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Thank you all very much. I greatly appreciate that. Really do. Means a lot to me.
Great.
Thank you very much.
We greatly appreciate you, Greg.
Yes, we do, and
You're not running.
we are extremely happy with that, with your first full year with Compass and the direction that you're taking it and your knowledge, your understanding of the issues. And like I say, empowering your staff. I think that's for leadership team. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And thank you, members of the committee. Thank you.
And I would just tell you, I appreciate the interaction and stuff that you've had with all the different groups and agencies. You know, the impact when you came down and to that meeting Idaho group. The business community was very excited about it, about what you provided and the interaction. So I think that's invaluable when you can get public and private together to try to fight some of the things that you want to fight. So thank you.
Definite win.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you. Well, now we'll get some information for us.
Right.
Get a director report.
Thank you, and I'll try to get through this relatively quickly. There are two items that I'm really going to talk about. And they're both very fluid, so I'm going to apologize in advance. Thank you for the vote of confidence you just gave me, and now you're going to go, what were we doing? But just to,
It's not the board meeting yet. We gotta change it.
well, this is rough. The reason that this is a fairly rough presentation is they're based on stuff that's just been happening in the past week. Not even a full week. Let's see, let's go ahead and.
Sorry, I'm not seeing where I can make it into so that that doesn't show up.
Give us a second.
Sure.
Oh, I may have it open still on my laptop.
That's okay, we can still go to slideshow, I just.
Okay,
find-
yeah.
Is this the right mouse? That was.
Literally working on this.
You were using with the wrong mouse.
Well, I opened it in this one, so.
Okay, so you are not using it, okay, so.
Exactly, what I did.
You need to
I
open
put
it
on
from the other,
PowerPoint.
because that's what
Let's
the,
go. Great. Elvis, I was listening to Elvis too.
so you can't open it. The clicker won't work. Okay.
I'll start talking while we're getting slides up. So the two things I'm gonna cover.
Exactly.
I'm gonna talk a little bit about the ITD board meeting last week. I know you did and if I could comment, you did a great job of sitting on your hands while hearing what to you would have certainly been some pretty bad news, so. I'll cover some of this. I know a lot of you have already discussed in Fraser Valley Partners, the partnership meeting. And so I'll talk a little bit about that, and then I'll also talk about the very quick snap analysis, some of the most relevant pieces of the surface transportation bill that was just proposed. The language for that bill was released on Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening. And so it's very, very fresh. And in fact,
Craig, may I interrupt just 1 second? Mayor Steer, are you seeing Craig's slide?
Yes, I see it.
Okay, great, thank you.
okay, great. So I'll run through these fairly quickly, but we can stop and discuss at any point with any of the topics. Can we minimize the?
Yes.
There we go. Thank you. So just as a quick reminder, you know, what I'm going to discuss today, and I'm not going to go into the content of this slide very much, but what I'm going to discuss today is ITD board is needing to take a variety of actions relating to how they're going to accommodate the budget changes due to legislative actions and governor's recommendation that effectively reduce the funds that are available. And a lot of those funds were used to backstop or to sort of justify the bonding activities that ITD typically undertakes. And because those funds aren't there, ITD is highly unlikely at this point to undertake bonding, and then that creates slip through or carries over into a bunch of the projects. So I don't have the table in this deck yet, but I've shown for a number of months now, I've been showing a table showing some of the currently program projects and their likely slippage if the bonding from ITD were to go away. And so we're starting to see that realized now. And so I just wanted to identify those and then have a little discussion that can help guide staff as far as some actions that, you know, that we could start considering taking. So based on those, the legislative actions and the funding situation that ITD is currently facing, their board is telling their team to focus on project development to really prioritize or selectively prioritize is probably the best way to put that, what highway projects they undertake right now, and then just not to expect the okay to proceed with any kind of bonding just due to that budget uncertainty. So the pieces of project development that you're going to see in the next couple slides are planning and studies, project development, like design, you know, the design type activities, and then right-of-way acquisition. So this is an adapted version of a slide for the District 3 projects that was shown at that meeting. That meeting was last Thursday. And so we're still kind of unpacking a little bit of what went through that. But as it stands right now, and I want to emphasize that this is fluid and not released yet for public comment, meaning it's not an official document that the IT board has said, this is what we're going to do in the what's called the ITIP, the Idaho Transportation Improvement Program, which is their wrap-up version of our TIP and their statewide transportation improvement program.
But they were talking about adopting this in June's meeting though.
That's correct.
June
Yeah.
16th.
Yes, I'll show that.
Okay,
I'll show
sorry.
that. I'll get it.
Okay.
Yeah, but you're absolutely right. However, there's a chance that there's some fluidity and some potential adjustments. But the early development or the studies that they have included, and so let me just run through the structure of the table. So the table that was shown to the IT board basically consists of the first two columns and then the last column, because these are all fiscal year 27 projects in what they were prioritizing. What the table says current TIP year, that's what we currently have programmed. And like I said, this is not a complete table. We're working on a more complete change document that'll show this. So we've highlighted a few of them where we filled in a few of them already, but it's still, this table's still under development. And then the current amount that we have programmed, for some of these, but you know, the difference, what we're noting is, ITD is proposing for a lot of these, moving the project out of later year or out of earlier years into later years or out of 27 fiscal year 27, and then in some instances changing the dollar amounts as well. And so worth noting in the planning section, is they're continuing the study on State Highway 44, from I-84 to Middleton, moving it to the NEPA phase.
Actually, that's actually I-84 to Star Road, not just Middleton.
Oh, so, okay,
They
thank you.
clarified that in the meeting that.
I was basing this on the slide.
Yeah.
Thank you. They actually started that meeting. I had been traveling until about midnight the night before. And they started that section of the meeting, about 10 minutes early, and I literally just missed like the first 10 minutes of that stretch. So thank you for that.
Yep.
And then they're adding South Ada, Canyon County connectivity. It's actually a continuation. It's sort of the next step of project that we've been participating with, but it's long been discussed. And so they're putting a little bit of a couple $1 million.
What would that
towards
be?
project. Well, that's
I
actually.
mean,
what-
I have an idea of what that's.
That South Ada Canyon County connectivity, they talked about that. Extending Highway 16 south and going that direction as part of that project.
That's one of the options that has been considered. The ITD is.
No, from where Highway 16 comes in,
To the interstate,
yeah, the interstate going south from there.
so then it'll probably connect into Robinson Road.
They're looking at a number of different corridor alignments considered for that right now. We're doing some of the modeling for that, but they're looking at options ranging from just like a connection to Robinson all the way through a new elevated freeway type facility going south, at least a few miles before it goes down to a ground level. But we've got like maybe 4 or 5 different scenarios that they're looking at for that stretch right now. But that's part of an ongoing project where they're just starting to look at like what the most favorable alternatives, but no real design or engineering NEPA level type analysis yet. Then project development activities, and so that's continuing to look at study the I-84 improvements. That is all of I-84 in our region, and then another one, they're kind of splitting some projects up, another one that extends it, some of their analysis to Mountain Home, and that's obviously worth noting since Elmore County is joining Compass. So we'll be paying attention to those too. Then the State Highway 55 projects, there's a fair number of these, and so what this table is showing is a sort of a mashup or a combination of what they presented on a slide at the IT board meeting last week and what ITD is starting to enter into their project database, what they call Otis. And so we've got access to that. So we're looking at that stuff as well. And so some of the numbers may not reflect exactly what they showed on the slide because they've got we're seeing different stuff in their actual work product as they're developing the draft of the ITIP. A lot of land purchase, right-of-way acquisition activities. Proceeding, north from Highway 16 and State Highway 44, along State Highway 55. That's been a project that's we've had in the works for a while. We're still trying to interpret some of the numbers, as you can see with the question marks from our team. And trying to figure out the dollar amounts and how they appear to be moving some of the construction back a little bit in order to make that feasible, because that's going to be an expensive project. The pieces we're talking here about so for those familiar with that general State Highway 55 project, the portion from Farmway into Nampa is underway and making plenty of progress. This is the portion from Farmway, continuing around the curve. And I'm not sure exactly how far south past the curve it goes.
Just where it connects into.
Where it's already-
At some point down, yeah,
Lanes, yeah.
right. Couple projects that are outside of the
The
zone.
Canyon County contingent knows.
I know, I believe me.
Oh, that's the thing.
Paying attention to it, yes.
We're putting sleeves in the ground too.
And then the construction projects, and maybe we can move that so we can see it better in the room, we can move that block. But the two construction projects that show up on their priority list for next year are the Palmer Lane intersection with 44. But then they're not showing funding for State Highway 44 from Star Road to State Highway 16. We have that listed as a $17.4 million project in our tip right now. It's rolling off the bottom of the slide. I apologize. Again, formatting on a rapidly changing slide deck, but their number that they're providing is around $10 million.
Yeah, it's not, that's.
Right now. Yeah, and so it becomes a bit more feasible to.
There's
not 17 million.
So here's a challenge that I have, Craig, on this is. We have our Julie that is pushing to put that back in. We have the director of IT that's pushing to keep it out. Director of ITD is not gonna be director of ITD after June, I have my understanding retiring, so I don't know where this is gonna go. But our district 3 engineer, Jason, is trying to figure out a way to put it back in too.
Right, and that's my understanding as well.
And we even offered as a city to give them $1 million to help get this thing done. This is the only segment on that whole Highway 16 section that's not getting widened by anything right now. The whole segment, and it's a bottleneck. And so you're gonna see, I'm gonna push like crazy, and if they don't fund that, Craig, I'm gonna blow this whole son of a bitch up in big time with everybody. Because that has gotta get funded. To buy land and worry about land when we have current issues that can be built to me is a problem. It's a big problem. Right? You have construction projects that need to be fixed.
Which moves us.
Oh, then, well, you're welcome for
No,
that.
that's great. No, that's exactly, so I mean, basically the discussion points based on all of this, and I was anticipating that Mayor Chadwick would have some comments, but is questioning whether. Safe assumption. Was that the projects that ITD, is a question, is what they're currently prioritizing, does that reflect what the Compass priorities are? And the critical thing to remember here is that as the Metropolitan Planning Organization, the ITD projects have to be included in our TIP, which means that our board still has, although the IT board has decision authority over this, our board also has a lot of influence over this. And there are instances in the past where our board has taken a position. I don't think it's ever come to the point where we've made an amendment or a change to the TIP, but we've used it as a negotiating tactic to try to encourage ITD to align with the priorities of the region and the regional governance structure that we have set up here. And so, that's one of those, the other question then is, if we think that, that should be prioritized, and there are probably some data around this that could help us figure out like what the sequencing ought to be, and our team will start looking into some of that we can hopefully turn around pretty quickly. Then the question becomes, how much should we push to have ITD reflect our priorities?
I'm not trying to be a turd with this thing, but it's the only east-west connection north of the river. The only one. And we got a bottleneck that's causing backups for miles. And the one commissioner, he from Northern Idaho, really talks about his concerns are safety. Right? I mean, he really pushed the safety aspect on projects to get done. And not doing that creates a safety issue. Not only does it piss people off when they're out there, they get angry, they start doing stupid things when they're driving out there, right? It's a frustrating part. And we've been jacked around so much out in Star on that project, because I built that section on highway that was unfunded in front of Albertsons with the understanding that they were gonna build that section a year after, and they continued to push this out and jack us around on that, and it's creating problems on that side of the valley. And it just feels like no one's really taking that into account on that, right? A 1 mile segment, 1 mile is all it is, that there is no right of way to be purchased in this. They have the right of way. I told them I'm just gonna get a dozer. I'm gonna start plowing the damn thing myself and figure out how to get it done, because I'm like, it's an issue. I mean, you can tell my frustration, obviously. If there's any project that needs to be done, it's that one project right there. And it's the cheapest one out of every one of them that's out there. So, sorry, thank you. Thank you for letting me vent.
If I could, Mayor, this is why we're having the discussion, is to get this information and sort of give me some guidance. You know, I mean, I'd say the options range, you know, I'm sure that you and some of the others may be having conversations with our IT board member.
Oh, I have. I mean, it's just, but knowing that we have some say in that, I just need to make sure that I'm writing a letter to the IT board outlining everything, the challenge that we're facing out there on that end. It's not like, we got only a couple bridge crossings in a 8 mile section. And then all that traffic on the north side with one east-west route. That's it. And you're jamming it all down and it just all piles in. Right, I got 20,000 vehicle trips a day on that one little one mile segment that's all backed up. And 70% of it comes out of Cannon County.
And it
Which is a crazy thing.
And it'll probably worsen when 16 opens.
And it'll get horrid when 16 opens. It'll be so bad when 16 opens.
Right, so I mean, the spectrum consists of, you know, we can have, you know, you can ask me to engage as well. We could, I can talk with the team and see how we've approached some of these other instances in the past where we tried to influence what ITD was doing a little bit, but I suspect what we're talking about is trying to put together using their numbers, trying to put together what we would do in our tip if it were up to us with those dollars, and float that. You know, obviously staff meetings with ITD, with Jason.
And Jason and Julie are on board. They both want to get this done. I don't get that wrong, that they do, but it's just, I think it's other parts of leadership that are. And this is gonna be very public, because this is a public meeting, I'm gonna be very honest. I think it's ITD's leadership pissed off at Mike Moyle enough about this stuff, that this project runs right in front of his house, his property that he's selling, and I feel like they're trying to stick it to him on this without really looking at the consequences of everything else. That's the perception that I have with this whole thing, right? I even got a contact with Mike Moyle when I was over there. I said, listen, you gotta help us fix this, right? I mean, your guys' funding fiasco in the state has created this problem all over where we have problems. And you're creating this, you gotta help me fix that. And you go, oh, let me see what I can do. Like you always said, let me see what I can do. But anyway, it's out there, and I would appreciate any help. I'm not trying to bag on any other project. They're all important, but just.
So I'm gonna do what I typically do is I'm probably gonna reach out to most of you individually over the next week or so.
He wants to go to lunch before he calls it
to try to get a sense of what works for folks. And then figure out a path forward for staff, and I'll keep everyone informed as best I can. But you know, this certainly does seem like this project has been in our tip for quite a while. And so it is a priority for us, and we don't like to see any projects languish. And so I'd say we'll do everything we can to try to make that happen.
Thank you.
I think even way back to when I was interviewing for the job, I said one of the things that I focused on is if we've got a project in our tip and we're unable to get it done, is finding ways to get those projects done. And state DOTs are usually open to that, so it'll be interesting to sort of see what we hear. But I'll like I said, I'll have conversations with most of you, and then continue to have conversations, because I think it probably, you know, realistically, if that is an actual budget constraint, if those, I haven't added up those numbers, I don't have them off the top of my head, but if that's an actual budget constraint, then, you know, realistically, if we were constrained like they're constrained, but making our own decisions, you know, we would have to figure out what moves to a later year in order to make that project happen. Because they're not gonna, it doesn't look like they're gonna get additional funds, or that they're gonna make additional funds available through bonding. And so, trying to get those priorities set right, so.
Yeah, and the whole issue on the bonding is having sustainable income to pay it over the year.
Which attaches, right, which is part of what, you know, what we're continuing to work on the legislative side.
Yeah,
So, yep. Just noting some upcoming dates. So a really important one is the June 16th ITD board and District 3 open house. That's at the courtyard, the Marriott Courtyard on South Eagle Road on that afternoon from 1:30 to 3 o'clock. So the IT board members will be there. And I'll send out the invite to everyone as well. So everyone knows about that. Then they're following that up then with the ITD board meeting on June 17th. That's at the District 3 offices. That will be when they formally start their comment period. So frankly, we probably want to try to have this resolved before then, because it's rare, frankly, that a document like a tip or an ITIP or a STIP change after they really go out for comment. There are little tweaks and adjustments, but they tend not to be replace this with this. That usually doesn't happen very much. But then there will be follow-up meetings while they're in that comment period before they take action at their September 17th meeting. That'll be long loose. So it looks like Craig's gonna get to make his first trip to Coeur d'Alene, Rigby, and Lewiston over the next few months.
awesome. And that open house, like Jason and then we're talking about, they're gonna put the different projects up, so everybody can see what's out there and stuff like that.
And then I'll bring Post-it notes that we can use to vote,
The vote on
which
which,
we'll put our own votes down on these.
I'm gonna try to get 10,000 letters from the city of Star residents. We'll flood them and get everybody in there.
But anything we can do to help, and if there's questions, like I said, we're just starting to kind of, we've been aware of this issue for a while, but we're having finally seen the ITD proposal or priorities as they've got them laid out. We're starting to work on that.
And to be honest and fair, they're in a tough position, man. They're in a, this whole, when you look at all 6 regions that they presented and what was being cut and all that, it's pretty bad. When they can take $60 million basically and turn it into $1 billion of bonding. Right, that's what we're talking about. When the state cut out how much, yeah, Craig,
100 and overall, I'm from the state, 165.
165 million. Cut out the ability to bond these projects and pay for them over that time. It's crazy to me. Especially when you got $1.5 billion in surplus. It's making interest.
We continue to have discussions, but thank you everyone, and just stand by, I'll be reaching out. Now I want to briefly talk about the federal reauthorization.
I think I'm gonna need a hug when we're done.
Briefly talk about the federal reauthorization. Like I said, the draft bill language was released Sunday evening. I got my first heads up about it late Sunday night around 8 o'clock. Their markup for that is going to be this Thursday. And I'll be watching that just to sort of see what that process looks like. The one thing to really note, this is not a new law, this is a proposal. It's giving the process to have a new surface transportation law a lot more momentum than it had just last week. But frankly, final adoption, final passage of this bill as it stands right now is unlikely. And in fact, I just learned today that they've already got a substitute bill that's actually the one that they'll be marking up. Only a few minor changes apparently, but that's just how the DC process works. So we'll be looking at that. Initial quick takeaways and immediately prior to the start of this meeting, I was sitting through a webinar from one of the really good analytic nonprofits out of DC that was running through it. And so there's new stuff that is included. This is from my own looking at the bill. But overall, core core program funding is essentially stable. It goes up a little bit. There's quite a bit less use of competitive grants. They kind of roll all the grants, not all of them, but a number of grants are now rolled into a new grant program that will, I think, operate on either at a larger scale, still lots of small projects, but a larger scale, or on a faster tempo. One of those two, I think is likely. Funding for metropolitan planning increases. My calculation was about 10%. The number on the webinar I heard earlier was about 20% over the 5-year period. So I calculated that as a 9.5% immediate in the first year, and then about a 3.5% to 3% increase every year after that. Maybe that adds up to 20% over 5 years. I can't do that fluid math in my head like that. There's another opportunity in the bill for direct MPO funding, so that we would directly, I'll say we, if we were to apply for this, we would be able to directly receive our planning funds from the feds and not have it cycle through the state DOT. There are going to be a lot of MPOs that pursue this. As I noted in my little write-up, we just went through our certification review, and I could just briefly thank Amy for great work in laying all the logistics and the presentations and the timing for all that. She did a great job of all of that. But we just went through that and got really, really good comments back. So we will probably not have any corrective actions. They told us that we're going to be one of the MPOs that they point to for all the other MPOs in the Northwest and Intermountain area to look at for a lot of processes and procedures around some of the things that we do. We may get a recommendation to try to engage better and more directly with tribes, which is frankly fine. We don't have any tribes in our geographic region, but they have lands that are impacted by projects. So we'll find a way to do that as well. But anyway, so I think it actually positions us that combined with our recent audits and everything. I think we're in a good position to potentially compete for that if that becomes law. Now, MPOs have been trying to have this ability for 3 cycles of reauthorization. And so this is the first time it's actually been in the initially proposed bill and not an amendment that others were trying to add later on. So the likelihood of this working into the final bill is quite a bit more.
Where's the support for this, do you think? Is it bipartisan or is it very?
Yeah, and the interesting thing to note, this is a bipartisan bill.
Okay.
It was not put together by House leadership. It was put together by committee leadership on both sides, and they're both the majority and minority side are promoting the bill.
Okay, cool.
Which is why they're able to do the markup so quickly. But like I said, it still then has to get through the House itself and the Senate. And so we'll see what comes out after the amendments as well. That'll tell us a lot when they go through the markup. Carbon reduction program and the Protect formula programs are both eliminated, but all of the funding and eligibility for projects shifts to other things. So for example, everything that you can currently do with carbon reduction program dollars moves under surface transportation block grant funds. And so, and all the dollars, it's basically the name of a program goes away, the project types all remain. I will note that due to some of the questions around how formula funds are distributed in Idaho, that's something that we're going to be trying to calculate what the impacts of that are, but it's possible that could result without changes to slightly less dollars being available for projects in our region. Although the overall dollars coming to the state would stay the same. So we'll keep looking into that. And as I learn more, we're still waiting on analysis from our National Association of Regional Councils, from the Association of MPOs, and then some full analysis from this other group that is very well connected in the DC area, called CAGIT, the Council for America's Gateways grade corridors. That provides really good information. So as I hear more, you can count on a pretty good presentation for the June board meeting as well. That's all I have. I'm happy to answer any further, but like I said, it's very new build.
All right, any questions? Thank you. Just keep us up to date, because it seems like that's a pretty important bill.
It's very important.
Yeah. All right, any other discussions before I guess our next meeting is on June 2nd.
That's correct. However, I'd say, Mr. Chair, there's a very, very high probability that we will cancel that. I'll talk with you in the next couple of days.
All right. No, we do, we'll let you know. All right, anything else being brought up? All right, well, I'll accept the motion to adjourn.
Mr. Chair, I'm gonna adjourn.
All right, you've heard the motion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried, we are adjourned, thank you.
Thank you, sorry, running it out.